Hello everyone and Merry Christmas from all of us here at Walford Weekly, your EastEnders podcast. We are talking about the episodes that were broadcast from Monday the 21st to Saturday the 26th of December, also known as Christmas Week 2020. As always, I am joined this week by Rob.
Hello, Merry Christmas. Ho,
Merry
ho,
Christmas.
ho.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas, Rob. Have you had a good one?
I have. I've just about recovered from the hangover I had on Boxing Day.
That's what Boxing Day's for.
Absolutely.
And as a special treat to our listeners, he's returned. He's back. Like a phoenix from the flames. He has risen. It is Ben.
Hello. That's right, I'm back.
Hello, Ben, like Lucas out of prison.
Pop over the Vic bar, click D15 on the jukebox and play the bitches back, because I'm here. Cindy Bill reference from 1996 there for everyone.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm here. I've got no notes. I'm just here to spread joy.
No, he told me he was doing this naked, so prepare yourself for that, listeners.
I know. Luckily, it's not a visual podcast, even if you are listening to this on YouTube. Yeah.
If you want that, you have to message me personally. I do take offers. Any
Got
offer.
OnlyFans.
He's planning an OnlyFans, I'm sure.
Oh, always. Always. It's always on my mind.
So this could be complete chaos, where we're all basically just talking over one another and
Merry Tishmas is also
Sorry,
accepted.
we should wish everyone a Merry Tishmas. This is a tradition on the podcast now. Merry Tishmas, Rob.
Merry Tishmas, Alex. Merry Tishmas, Ben. I sound drunk when I said that. Merry Tishmas.
You did. You're onto your second Baileys. You're
Already, yeah.
into your veins. So yes, quite a busy Christmas this year, but not a very chaotic one. Quite a calm Christmas on the square this year.
Yeah, compared to normal sort of brutality, it was. I think it was quite understated in the grand scheme of things. Aside from Sharon with her Christmas pud.
No warehouses, so that's always nice.
No one was tied up in the back of a car.
It's always a treat.
Yeah.
And one of the best returns that I've ever seen on a Christmas episode. Pearl was back, and she wasn't recast.
I know, I'm shocked.
That was my Christmas wrapped up in one.
I mean, just any scene with Pearl and Raymond in it was just delightful in my mind.
I want them to be mates.
I think they will be.
Like cute little mates that just dance around church together. I could watch that all day.
Waving their arms around like those inflatable car sales.
And Kim just stays in the car park and refuses to enter the church.
Yeah.
Kim really has an offensive tone toward the church, doesn't she? She has it seems to have just come from nowhere. She just hates
anything religious.
Yes.
I understand it. It's relatable.
You know the film Omen, where the boy is sat in the car and he just sweats because he can't go into the church?
That's Kim.
Well, that's Ben.
Oh, well, yeah.
So let's get the show on the road. So we are starting with Mitch and Karen, Billy, Jay and Honey. Yes, we're starting with them. And yes, we're already going to say that Billy has absolutely zero right to have any reason to complain and moan about Jay and Honey. We have every right to complain and moan about it. Billy has none. He has nothing to do to control Honey's life anymore. He lost that right when he slept with Tina.
Yes, when you slept with a lesbian, that's what happens.
Plus, they broke up it was literally years ago. It wasn't like it was recently. Why is he so controlling of her?
Oh, because he's like, he still loves her, doesn't he? And all this kind of rubbish. None of us care, but Billy's still obsessed with her.
Mentioned it when she went in her taxi, didn't she? Billy's had all that time to get with Honey, hasn't bothered.
She said, get back with the one you love, Billy, and then Billy went to Karen.
Yeah.
That's where he gets the most screen time, you see, that's why.
Yes.
Get with the Taylors.
Yeah, he's lost that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say now that the first of my smugness of things I predicted. Correctly.
Oh, yes, I forgot to mention that at the top of the show. Yes, we will be coming to that later.
You can call me Poirot as well, I don't mind.
I'm calling you Mystic Meg, love.
Yeah, that's fine, love.
Not D.I. Thompson.
No, certainly not D.I. Thompson, and certainly not Callum.
I don't know who D.I. Thompson is, I'm afraid.
Yes, D.I. Gaffney, Ben.
Oh, him, yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, I kind of had I act as though it wasn't obvious. For them to have kissed at this big old meal that Honey did, and then Billy would spot them. I mean, it was kind of pretty brutal for Billy to be dumped by Karen and then to walk in on Jay and Honey snogging, but that's life, Billy.
Yeah, I mean, it blinded Billy a little bit, the dumping, because he was setting up a nice happy Christmas for Karen, and Karen didn't want anything of it. Billy was in his Christmas Santa pants, covering his nipples. That annoyed me. That was the beginning of my annoyance for Billy this week.
He looked quite good, though, for his age, I thought. In a weird... Am I just desperate from lockdown? I'm not sure. But I thought, actually, not too bad, Billy.
But Billy's better than me?
Well, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, this is the sort of thing I wanted to be a part of when I joined the podcast.
But Karen didn't. Let's move on swiftly. Karen
Okay.
didn't want anything to do with Christmas this year. She felt a bit detached to it because of Chantel.
Okay.
Where there was she felt like no one really understood her. She'd been speaking to Mick, obviously. Even Mitch couldn't really take her out of the funk that she was in, and I think she just kind of thought, Billy. I've sucked Billy dry, for use of a better term.
Well, he does, like Ben said, he does look good for his age.
Oh, come on, what's happening here?
It's Christmas innuendo, But yeah, I mean, she didn't want Christmas to really be a thing, but she was all right once she got to actual Christmas Day. Oh, I'll go to the pub.
Yeah, and then was
changed
happy
it.
and joyful.
Yeah,
It
she was
was a
all right.
bit weird, wasn't it? Because like when she was doing the bad Santa, she was quite more than happy to oogle over all the men, and then she remembered Chantel for one episode, and then forgot Chantel again, like all of us.
Not me, I remembered her.
No, I kind of remembered her. The girl from I'm a Celebrity, wasn't it? Yeah, so it's essentially, we talk about the Billy and Jay confrontation. When he turned around to her and said, first my granddaughter, then my ex, who you're going to make a move on next, Janet.
Yeah,
Gasp worthy, wasn't it?
DJ Janet.
DJ Janet. Yeah, I know. Well, that was obviously a frustrated low for Billy. I think he was just snatching at straws, trying to find anything to kind of like make Jay feel like he'd done something wrong there. When do you think Jay had done something wrong there? I get that there's a lot of people saying that Honey and Billy brought Jay up, and they are right. But
Yes.
He did something gross, but not
Yeah.
wrong.
Well, I mean, I suppose you could also kind of throw, sort of bro code or something into it, like
Bro
you're not supposed to
code?
go. Yeah, you're not supposed to go after your bro's exes. It's sort of a unwritten rule.
You're not meant to sleep with lesbians either, but
You're
Billy
not
did.
supposed to sleep with lesbians. In case you're a lesbian, it's
well, especially when
But-
your daughter's in hospital after being knocked down by a car
by said lesbian.
by said lesbian. Gosh, all these people saying that Tina had no stories, we're just laying them all
know.
out on the table right now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Tina had a lot more going on for her than
3 in 7 years, it was all good.
I know, but when
That's
you
more
say
than some
one
can
of,
ask.
yeah, but then when you say one of them was sleeping with Billy Mitchell, it sort of kind of puts it back into place, really, doesn't it? So what happens next? Do these two, do Honey and Jay, sort of begin now, or do you reckon there's going to be a bit of hesitation before they go there again?
I have no sadness for Billy for his constant wanting Honey, and then every time he thinks he has an opportunity, Honey goes off with someone else. Honey's moved on. Honey has moved on consistently. Even when she isn't with someone, she doesn't want to be with Billy. Why can't Billy accept this? The only time Billy accepted it was when he was feeling a bit smug, because then he got himself a girlfriend with Karen, and then he got dumped, and so perhaps that's why he was feeling a little bit sore about the whole situation. But
What would he have done if he'd have walked in on that, had Karen not dumped him? Would he have been as angry?
yes, I think he would have been.
Very controlling. I thought it was really weird how when Karen dumped him, he was like phoning Honey and walking into the restaurant. What was his plan? To like announce his love and like passionately kiss her
Probably.
in the middle of the restaurant?
Probably.
It's like she had no idea what was going on. I have no sympathy for Billy at all.
Nope.
I'm afraid. But I'm glad that Perry got some dialogue.
Yes.
Wait,
but the scene
You've
wasn't
got
like-
a duff.
Oh yeah, he did. But like it wasn't like the best of scenes either between them. Normally with 3 good actors like that, it was
Two.
a bit... Sorry, who's the 2?
Jay and Honey are fine.
Billy's...
There's nothing wrong with Perry Fenwick's
Perry's
acting.
a good actor. He just
He is
gets
a good
given
actor.
trash.
No, he plays angry worry a lot. That's
That's what he's given to do, though.
yeah, but
I do think the filming techniques are giving some of the cast like a hard time acting like how they would normally. Because people who are normally really decent, like Perry, they seem to struggle in that outside scene between 3 of them.
Well, you try giving an emotional monologue to a tennis ball.
Exactly.
See how you go. Yeah, yeah.
I do
It's
every
not-
day
yeah,
when
it's
I
not
speak
an
to
easy
Alex.
thing. Wow.
to quickly pull up on the filming techniques, I move on quickly whenever
that.
Ben's on doing the show. You're right. I think there's a detachment there, but the scene when they were inside and they were all together, the whole time I just couldn't get past the fact that I just felt like Billy was controlling Honey, and it's like Honey's already been in a controlling relationship with Adam. She
And,
doesn't need to go back to one.
Jay and Honey were both like willing to let him control them as well, which I thought
Yeah.
just snog in front of him and tell him, okay, I'm dead to you then. That's what I would have done.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like, why is Billy being allowed to let them be controlled by him?
I mean, I don't think it's meant to be seen as especially controlling. I think it's just meant to be Billy being sore about it. You know, like, and if it was anybody else other than Jay, he probably wouldn't have reacted quite as angrily as he did.
He would have reacted. He
Not
would have
quite
reacted
as angrily, because he felt betrayed by Jay, though, didn't he? This lad that he practically raised.
That's the thing. That's
It
I
is
think
creepy.
that's
Even
the-
Honey raised him.
Literally. That's the problem with, I think, this story. Is
It's
that
kind of like one of those bang the babysitter storylines, really, isn't it?
just imagining that story.
That's what I mean, yeah.
But yeah, so at least Honey got to put out a nice Christmas dinner for everyone because the fridge broke down and Jay saved the day. So maybe Honey was a bit overwhelmed by the situation, and that's what kind of brought her into kissing Jay. So maybe that is the end of the Jay and Honey story.
No,
Maybe
it's not.
No?
It's the end.
And I think fully
Beginning.
fair, you know, if my fridge was broken on Christmas Day and someone saved that we brought loads of food, I'd snog them too. So I think it's fully fair.
Even if it was Billy.
Even if it was well, maybe shake his hand warmly.
I don't know. I think you've got a soft spot for Billy. Every time we discuss
Depends
Billy,
what he's wearing.
God, I'm going into thirst trap for Billy in this episode.
Yeah, we're expecting that, were you, when you came up with this idea?
I mean,
Was the bad Santa thing this week? Was
It
that last
happened-
week?
No, that was last week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it happened
Just special
during-
shout out to Isaac.
Mm.
Just for me.
well, Isaac didn't do it in the end. In
Yeah,
fact,
but he auditioned.
Did any of them do it in the end?
well,
Kim.
Isaac suspiciously went
Did it
missing
even
over
happen?
Christmas.
Yeah, did it even happen, the bad Santa thing?
I think it did. Well, Kim
That was
started
their dance,
dancing.
wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she danced, didn't she?
So what was the point of the auditions then?
Well, Mitch dressed
Plot.
up as yeah, plot device to fill time. Didn't
Well.
Mitch dress up as Santa Claus?
Yeah, but so does anybody. So did most people on Christmas Day. at
Yeah, Big
Walford.
Mo was dressed as Santa Claus in the
Been down-
living
Yeah,
room.
exactly. She's a bad Santa. She was. She had a beard on and everything when she was busy farting in her sleep.
Well, since we're talking about Big Mo, and dressed up as Santa Claus, let's move on to the Slaters. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised that they were dropped in on the Christmas Day episode.
Secret
Yeah.
storyline as well.
yeah,
I know. I thought, I was genuinely. I mean, I might have been a little bit drunk by this point, but I was kind of. I gasped really loudly and kind of got. I was like, "Oh my god, no, Jean! She found
Oh.
another lump."
I know
She?
that Jean story. Honestly, as Ben said, it was a real surprise, and
Yeah,
it was
a bit of a gut
horrible.
punch, wasn't it?
Oh, it's just. I mean. But again, it felt. This is EastEnders, where it is written and felt well, and it felt
Yeah.
real. It felt real. It felt like you
yeah.
were there in the room with Jean discovering it, and it was like, oh my goodness, my heart broke when she discovered it, and it kind of helped the whole story as well with the Slaters this week, with Martin giving the wrong gift to Stacey and Ruby getting Stacey's like boot shoe, was it like a high heel shoe
A what?
keychain, and Stacey getting the Gucci watch, and but it helped it along for me because the whole time Jean always wants Stacey and Martin to get back together, but she was encouraging it, almost willing it, because she knew that she had
she
this
wanted-
lump again, and she potentially had cancer.
Well, she's convinced. I think knowing Jean, she's probably convinced that she's going to die again, isn't she? Like she's back in that sort of mindset. I mean, fingers crossed it's benign. But yeah, no, the fact that they managed to keep that completely secret was like you see. Yeah, I see what you mean. Like it felt like we were discovering it with Jean. That's a very good way of putting it, Alex. Well done.
Cheers.
It's all right. Well, now, see, are you both going to tell me that you didn't think that the whole Martin Stacey Ruby thing was funny?
Was it meant to be funny?
Oh, there you go.
I
course
didn't realise it was meant to be funny. I didn't.
Funny. I
not-
thought it was hilarious.
Oh, I don't. That's not a criticism by me
No, I
not
don't-
thinking it was funny.
Like I say, I had drank a lot of Baileys by that point. Maybe that's the trick.
I mean, Lacey Turner's reactions were really good when she was really smug at the table.
Yeah,
like,
when she was
thinking,
like, you know,
"I've
they were
got a
talking
watch
about.
on."
Yeah, exactly. Like when Ruby was kind of fondling her keyring and Stacey was kind of just casually rolling her sleeve back and admiring the watch. I thought it was really funny.
I mean, everyone can relate to Ruby because she had to pretend she liked the present as well in front of everyone. Like, everyone was looking at her like, "You do like it," and like, I've done that acting before.
Oh God, with me.
Yeah.
Is this the third dick of the show?
This Christmas or previous Christmas?
Oh, the past 10, I'd say.
Wow, yeah.
I'm quite used to it now. But
Aw.
yeah, I mean, there was a bit weird with Ruby's characterization this week. I feel like negative Ben's coming back. Hi.
Oh, hello. Gosh,
Did
I
he go
wondered how
away?
long it would take. What? Who had 15 minutes? Who out there had 15 minutes of the show?
No, but
I didn't have that long.
I was such a, believe it or not, fan of Ruby last year, where she was like this Miss Independent, open relationship woman who was sleeping who she wanted, did what she wanted, don't want kids. And now she's married to Martin, and then at the end of the week, she saw Raymond in a field and now wants kids all of a sudden. That's upset me deeply.
But because it's a character change for Ruby.
Yes, because it doesn't feel like it's like the payoff wasn't there for her to suddenly change her whole mentality. And they don't have a character like that who doesn't want kids or doesn't want to settle down. And in like, what, 4 months? They've done a
that's-
complete 180 on her.
That's
and
the
she's
power
now-
of Raymond and his cuteness. Don't anybody want kids?
Well, that's true. It got Lucas out of prison, didn't it?
Exactly. That kid is
radar.
powerful. We're talking about Damien. It's Raymond. He's got powers, that kid.
But that annoyed me because I hated Ruby when she was back in it, and I thought she's pointless, don't bring her in. And then I liked her after Kate Oates and Johnson did some quite good work with her, and now they've done this, and I'm just like, for God's sake, she's just another female on the show. That's what she feels like.
Yeah, wants to dote on her husband and be loved by her boyfriend. I mean...
I understand people can change their minds.
Yeah.
But it's just the fact that we've had
Very quickly.
we've had no build up to why she would change her mind so much. I mean, is it because she's so in love with Martin?
Well, is it out of desperation? Because in a way, she married Martin. For me, she married Martin a little bit to spite Stacey. And do you think
completely to spite Stacey?
And do you think then that she wants a child with Martin because she's worried that she thinks it's a way of basically sticking it to Stacey?
Yeah, that's kind of where I thought she was going, because I don't feel like we've had a huge amount of sort of resolution to the Stacey versus Ruby thing yet.
Oh no, that's so bad.
Like, it seemed like they'd sort of like. I don't think that when that story was like proper going, you know, when Stacey returned that she'd stolen all this money and bought all this jewellery that
got beaten up.
Yeah, exactly, she got beaten up. So I don't think that we were expecting Ruby and Stacey to kind of willingly share Christmas Day, and the only reason Stacey allowed that to happen is because she was so smug about her watch, and then the reason Ruby allowed that to happen was because she was so smug about the present that she thought she was getting. So maybe it's that, but yeah, I know what you mean. I
just feels a bit extreme, like bringing a child into the world as a bit of a I've got your man.
Yeah, it does.
Like,
yeah,
really?
and I would like to see
then,
the rivalry start to bring itself again.
But then
yeah,
don't forget,
exactly.
Ruby had Stacey beaten up, so I think
that's
Ruby...
not been mentioned since either.
Yeah, but my point is that Ruby likes to take things to the extreme. She doesn't do things by halves. Ruby will do
right,
it.
I'll have a kid.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I'm going to chop his penis off.
Yeah, exactly. Ruby is extreme to the max. She's got
That's
why
why
her
I like
dad's...
her so much. You see?
Yeah, she's got her dad's mentality. It's like if someone is punishing.
It's a good thing to think. What would Ruby do? You can sort of make your way through life that way. Nothing wrong with that.
I mean, to go back quickly to your point about it being funny between Ruby, Martin, and Stacey, and saying it wasn't funny. What I mean by that is that for me, the Slater story was the most Christmas EastEnders episode was this year. It felt like a Christmas EastEnders episode when their scenes were on screen. So it's by no means a criticism that I didn't guffaw at the stories, but I noticed the little bits and pieces, like you said, when Stacey had that little like smile, the Grinch-like smile when she knew that she had a better present than what Ruby was given, and also when Ruby and Martin had planned a pizza party for Christmas Day, and then she had got caterers in, and everything felt really. That felt like if it had just been a whole hour of the Slater story on Christmas Day, they just forgot everything else that happened around it, and it was just the Slaters. I would have thought that the Christmas Day episode was spot on, and it was the best episode they'd done for a while.
That's because it's like the most relatable, though. Like out of all the stories for the past year, like
apart from all the people that were in the house.
Well, yeah, but they're the Slaters, so they're not
allowed.
going to listen. And then Honey wasn't exactly paying attention, was she? With mass gathering.
No, the pub was open.
COVID spreaders. But it's so relatable because it's like I was really impressed with that shot of all of them around the table as well. There was 12 characters.
Yeah, no, it looked amazing.
And I think that's like one of the only relatable things this Christmas is, I could actually see an actual family sitting around like that at Christmas.
Again, with Christmas stories, there always seems to be that, there's a pending danger about to happen. And with the Slaters, there wasn't really that. There was that kind of very gentle peril between
Jean's
Ruby
life.
and well, of course. But I think that's meant to just be kind of now remembered for obviously later on, but for the here and now.
You felt safe in the Slater house, like no one's going to die or fall down the stairs or anything like that.
I mean, you can sort of tell
safe
when something bad's going to happen in the Slater house because a character will be looking worried on their own whilst you hear Kat and Stacey cackling in the background. You never see them, like, what's made them laugh so loudly, but it's that's normally in the background when something bad's going to happen. That's what we got with the Jean stuff.
Or you see like the upstairs or like the third extension. Like,
the attic,
they've got the new set
room.
out that there's something's going to happen here.
The attic room. But I know what you mean. I wasn't bored by watching like a fairly normal Christmas unfold EastEnders, which is sort of the last thing that you expect when you watch an EastEnders Christmas special, isn't it? I think like they seem to be aiming for sort of the most sort of light-hearted Christmas that they could do in the circumstances of the storylines that they had at their disposal. It seemed like they were trying to nail the tone of something because they kind of felt that maybe this year isn't the one for kind of grief-stricken screaming and shouting and throwing Christmas trees across the room and all of that sort of thing.
But even the A plot with Sharon and Ian
that was camp as
exactly. I mean, I don't approve of it.
No, of course you don't.
Highly, deeply disapprove.
Don't worry, Rob, I'm on your side on this one.
Yeah.
But,
good.
But like, it wasn't like dark and dangerous. Like, it was just camp and ridiculous.
But I didn't see. This is my point. I didn't mind that the last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years of EastEnders.
25.
Yeah, although I love a very dark, miserable Christmas episode of EastEnders.
Not this year.
This year, because it wasn't, it felt new and fresh, and I think a lot of people agreed. I think a lot, from what I've read, people who watched it first time round were surprised. I think it took them by surprise that it wasn't the EastEnders they expected to see while drunk and eating a Christmas mince pie whilst, and then when they've rewatched the episode the next day, they've been like, oh, actually, that was a really good episode.
It was decent.
Who rewatched that?
Many people. I rewatched EastEnders.
The iPlayer requests are up 15 million.
BBC will be reporting on that very soon.
Put a spin on that quick.
But unfortunately, if we talk about ratings really quickly, I'm gonna.
Oh,
I'm sorry, but again, it was third place for the soaps this year, which is
out of 3.
out of
three.
of course,
I don't know if Hollyoaks was on.
which was unheard of. Which is unheard of for Christmas for EastEnders. EastEnders always win on Christmas Day.
Great.
It was the number one soap on Saturday, though.
Because it was the only one.
Yeah. I'm here all night, thanks.
I mean, let's not kind of skirt around the fact the ratings weren't great. I mean, you can say that the ratings weren't great across the board for anything other than the Queen, and I don't mean Stacey. It's I think it's just Christmas TV now. Unfortunately, it's not the same sort of landscape anymore. And soaps have been going down year after year after year. I didn't think we'd ever see Emmerdale Christmas above EastEnders Christmas, but sadly that's here we are. It was only by about 200k, but it's enough. I thought it would be good for at least 4 million. But that's sadly where we're at. We'll see where the catch-up numbers go.
Well, that's what I mean. The iPlayer downloads.
Yeah,
BBC will spin that till there's no tomorrow.
I mean, hopefully it will allow them to not put all their huge storylines to end on Christmas Day. Like, EastEnders does that a lot. It relies on Christmas Day to be the big reveal of everything. Maybe they could, from now on, spread out a bit. Because I think Corrie didn't have a huge Christmas, did it, this year?
No.
And they spread their big things out through the whole year. I think that's more where EastEnders, they tend to rely on pushing all their eggs in one basket on Christmas Day.
Yeah. But it's 3 times a year, isn't it? There's one in March, which is around the anniversary.
February.
Sorry, say that again. Wow. God.
19th February, come on.
There's one in February.
19th.
Which is around about their anniversary. Then they do September, because that's like the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
They in soap world.
Yeah, after a slow summer.
Yeah, and then they do it in Christmas. I mean, why don't they stretch the Christmas one so it's over Christmas week rather than everything happens on Christmas Day?
And New Year's is normally quite big as well, isn't it?
It is.
That's like the B story.
Yeah, they so at that end that's what I think they're doing. Mick
it suddenly becomes a AAA story.
I don't know. I just think you're right. You're absolutely right. It's the landscape of Christmas television, and there wasn't a great schedule this year anyway. If you looked at the whole spectrum, and it's not the television channel's fault. There's been a little thing going on. I don't know if you've noticed it, but some kind of thing called COVID, I think, has been happening.
Rings a bell.
Well, it's fortunate that I was wearing masks this year as my fashion accessory anyway, so...
And so, maybe perhaps that just didn't pull the audience, from after a show off. Hey, should we talk about the big Christmas story then?
If we have to.
This is it. Rubs hands together and looks at notes. So, obviously, we've got the reveal of who duffed Ian in a duff. It wasn't surprising. Let's be honest. Someone did predict it quite a few months ago with some text message that got through.
I did.
Thank you.
I forget who
I
it was.
will fight you to the ground, Ben, if we were in the same room.
I really don't know who did it. Can you remember?
An absolute genius. That's who did it. Poirot of Walford Weekly.
I mean, well done, Rob. 100%.
Thanks.
And to be fair, a lot of people congratulated you on Twitter as
I
well.
did. I felt famous. No, let's be fair. I will, I'll say it right away. I didn't get it quite right, which I'm pleased about, frankly, because I wanted something to surprise me. I genuinely didn't expect it to be Phil that actually did the hitting. But yeah, no, pretty much everything else kind of panned out as I kind of expected it to. What do we think? Go on.
Well, I was going to say, how did you feel about the
I
reveal?
think just because it was so set in my mind that had been the reveal, it was almost like I knew it was coming up anyway. A death or something that I'd already been told that it was going to happen. So it didn't feel like I was waiting to be surprised. So I felt okay about it. And it's a bit of a... let's talk about Sharon's character in this sort of scenario. I mean, for a start, the whole Christmas pudding thing was the campest thing I've ever seen on television. It was like the Christmas episode of Midsummer Murders.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, as you say, it was like a very cosy way of killing someone, isn't it?
It was like crushing pills in a pestle and mortar and then putting it in a Christmas pudding and then just menacingly lighting it with a blowtorch and standing there staring at the flame.
she put it in the brandy because there was a lot of people who said, how could she have made a Christmas pudding in half an hour?
As if that was the biggest kind of thing to question.
Yeah, that's the thing to question. No,
that was your issue.
She crushed the pills in the brandy, then mixed it all up. The brandy had a really weird kind of creamy, milky colour to it. But I suppose
it was that brandy cream stuff. Can you say us to that?
Yeah, she poured the cream, didn't she? I mean, where did she get these pills from? What are these pills?
Yeah, that's my question.
Are they going to be found in Ian's body when he's dead? Like, Sharon clearly isn't thinking clearly.
But I don't think
she's not a natural born killer, though, is she? Really?
Yeah. And I don't think she's meant to think clearly on this. I think she will hopefully come to the realization that what she's doing is a bit nuts.
Hope so.
But I think it's to say that Sharon's going to get found out straight away. Obviously, Sharon isn't thinking straight. This is all for Denny, isn't it?
Well, it's very out of character, if that's what you're saying.
It feels quite bizarre. Yeah, how much further is she prepared to take this? Because now have we had all our questions answered from what happened on the night Ian was attacked? I don't feel like we have.
No, everything that happened around it, which we say that is probably the most interesting part of that night, hasn't really been answered. I mean, we know Peter was the one who wrote "Die Scum Bill,"
which we kind of worked out fairly quickly as well.
We don't really know what Colette had done.
Well, it's all been on Twitter. That's the trouble. All the flashbacks are put on Twitter in full. And you get to see, the one with Kira and Peter makes no sense at all, even when you watch all three clips together.
It looks like a beginning of a porno.
Yeah, he beats up Ian outside.
In your wishes, maybe.
No, it really does. If you watch it, Ben Tez, he beats up
Ian.
Yeah.
Then Peter comes along. He puts a bag over Peter's head, punches him, puts him in the back of the van. Then there's another flashback where
they're drinking.
He tries to get out of the van and Kirat punches him in the face and he falls backwards on his back in the back of the van. And then the next clip, they're sitting there drinking beer together laughing.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on?
That was a fun night, wasn't it? Let's do it again sometime.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's the bits they didn't show. That's what I wanted to see.
Yeah, I bet.
Go write a fanfic and go away.
I'm going to do a fanfic on the Peter.
We're not reading it out. You got into trouble the last time.
We really did.
I mean, my main trouble with this whodunit is the point of a whodunit is that you have loads of characters with strong motives and you can't work out who did it. And the fact that quite a lot of people worked out it was Sharon and Phil, it was that was pointless because every other suspect had such thin motives that all they could feel was a 5-second flashback of their motive and that was it. So the payoff that it was Sharon and Phil working together, it's that's everyone knows that, it's obvious.
Was
so
there
anybody give me
surprised anywhere on social media that it was Sharon?
No, I don't think so. Not many people, especially how obvious Letitia Dean's performance has been the past few weeks.
Yeah,
she was literally told behind the scenes, Letish, you're behind all this. She's like, okay, I'll make it really subtle, and then you just see her in the background staring down the camera,
it's genius.
And the fact that she married Ian within a second.
That was I think the biggest sort of indicator.
Yeah.
I think Sharon might have done this,
And it makes me upset that it wasn't Sharon did it spare of the moment without thinking. It's quite premeditated, which annoys me.
Yeah, which is why the kind of ending, the way it's ending with her crushing up the pills and bum. I think that the fact that this is now her going a little bit crazy and having not time to think about it, when everything up to this point was so planned, almost to the letter. And
also another annoyance of mine. Sorry, this is my last one for now. Is the fact that until my next sentence is the fact that everyone, like, they're blaming Ian solely for the death of Denny.
Yeah.
And it's she was like, Denny went down with the ship. It's like, no, Ian stayed there, unlocked the door. They both nearly died. He did
the ship
all
that
he
Phil
could.
brought down.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like, Ian did everything he could to save Denny, actually, and like he should have been the hero of the square, not Gray.
But Ian was the one who first put Dennis in that situation,
Yes, but like if I was Ian and I said, Denny, you're grounded, stay in this house, and then Trevor and Mo turn up and burn the house down, who do you blame for Denny dying?
In that slightly drugged up situation,
Thank you.
I imagine, I imagine that it would. Yeah, I
would be Trevor.
It would be Trevor, yes, and maybe little Mo for annoying him.
I think
so. Really, it's Phil's fault or Keanu's.
It is all Phil's
or
fault.
Sharon's fault for sleeping with Keanu.
Ultimately, it was then it's Sharon's fault. So Sharon killed her own son.
Yeah.
So that really annoyed me. But I would.
So she's eating the Christmas pudding.
Yeah, she's eating her own Christmas pudding.
Yeah.
She's married herself.
I could have forgiven it because there was a moment when she was boiling up the pills in her little cauldron. There was a moment where she kind of questioned herself, like, what am I doing? And then she listened to the voice message again and she was like, that's why I'm doing it.
It's got like a top up.
Yeah, and she's like, okay, that's why I'm doing it. And it's like, I would have preferred the next episode to be Ian and Sharon actually having a conversation about what actually has been going on.
I think
because she knows that he tried to attack Bobby like Dennis did, doesn't she? And Ian's told her that, and like the reason he was angry. So like I would have preferred them to actually sit down and work out exactly why Ian's been lying and what's been going on.
Well, the mad thing is, like, how much of the actual story, so as in like what she heard on the voicemail, is different to what Dottie told her all those months ago that she confronted Ian with, and Ian sort of said, yeah, that did happen. Like, how much of it is new information to her?
Exactly, nothing. And she didn't even mention, like, oh, so Dottie was right. Like, there was no mention of Dottie, because that's how the series 2 of EastEnders started. That was the first episode, wasn't it? Where
Dottie
told
got thrown
her.
out.
And it's like, oh, there's so many things they could have brought up that they could have sat down and talked about.
Well, this is it. If it's, again, this almost builds on our whole, why can't it be less plot-driven and more character-driven? I mean, to do a whodunit is fine, but with so many loose ends, that is the Dennis's death story. So to say on Ben's point that it wasn't just Ian who had a hand at it, it was also Keanu, it was also
Ben.
Phil, it was also Ben. Yeah, they were having that fight. They ultimately made the ship, boat, whatever, sink. the canal boat, whatever, sink. So was there really scope there for a whodunit story? Would it be better for them to have a scene where you could have even made a whole week? That would have been really ambitious, and I think I would have duffed my cap if they had, where you literally had the whole week of episodes of Phil, Ian and Sharon just talking to each other, a three-hander.
Because Phil needs to take some blame here. Like, he's there
Well,
willing...
he did take some blame. He
but
cried.
then Sharon was like, I'll give you an alibi, and he was like, okay. That's mine. I'm clean.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Sharon's defending Phil, isn't it?
Well, the other thing is as well, seeing as though Phil actually was the one that duffed Ian round the head, are we supposed to believe that Phil's intention at that moment, if he hadn't been interrupted by Peter on the spray paint, would he have killed Ian at that moment?
Well, that's
would
what
that
you're led to believe,
rule,
isn't it?
That unwritten rule that Phil should never directly kill anybody, would that have been broken?
I mean, it would have been, but obviously that's why they had Peter disturb him. But that, again, it's just like, we know that Phil's not an out-and-out killer, and it's like, would he have just gone in the Vic and smashed him over the head like that? It's all so pre-planned and horrible, and ugh. Like, if you like go back to like Chrissy and Den, like when she murdered him, it wasn't like she planned for weeks, I'm going to kill you. It was a moment of madness, sheer panic, and what am I going to do? And I would have preferred that if that was the way that Sharon and Ian had this thing.
But then how could you have put Ian and Sharon in a confrontational, plot point?
Well,
the
she
same way
walks in the Vic and plays the message to him. I don't know.
Yeah, but then what? And then Sharon, mad, got the Queen Vic bus and smacked it around Ian's head.
Well, Ian would have just been gross. Like, when they went to visit Denny's grave, he was being really, like, he was talking about himself, wasn't he? And she was just like, shut the up.
Yeah, I did like that bit, actually, when Sharon was like, shut up, Ian.
Don't care. Tough.
But then that three-hander idea could have worked then. So you had Phil, Ian and Sharon. Sharon plays the voice message.
And at the end of it, they all agree that they all played a part in this big mess. And it's all their fault.
And we'll never speak of this again.
No.
Yeah. Well, there'll always be that in the background. I mean, but how do they come back from this? Like, how, Sharon has now tried to kill her, inverted commas, best friend.
Husband.
Yeah, and husband, yeah. Phil.
Although they haven't done the deed that Kathy told us, thank God.
God for that.
Oh yeah, no.
Even Sharon could bring herself.
What we do in the bedroom is our own business, Kathy.
Yeah, I mean, like we've said before, Letitia Dean's a very big eye actor, and you could see the terror in her eyes at the mere thought of
sleeping with Adam Wood.
Yeah.
And also the fact that Sharon's plan is to kill Ian because her son has been killed, and it's like she knows Kathy and she's planning to kill her son, and it's all a bit like, do you know what I mean?
But
like,
there's always
you're killing
been
someone's son, so it's like,
but the
you're doing
relationship-
the same thing to Kathy that Ian did to you.
Yeah,
And it's like,
the relationship between Kathy and Sharon though has always been very strained ever since Sharon decided to sleep with Kathy.
she helped her give birth
Husband.
last year, and they were on the mend, weren't they?
Yes,
I mean,
she still hasn't forgiven her for the massive tuft of hair that she pulled out of her head that time.
I wonder if
It's
this
still
was.
growing back to this day.
Yeah, exactly. There's still cream applied.
Do you think this was the story all along? This was what they had. So when they did Boat Week in March, they killed Denny. They said that there's going to be repercussions to Dennis's death. Do you think this was the story all along? And it had been, or do you think there was always a longer game, but because of again they had to stop filming, they had to quickly think of an alternative way of
I mean, I
basically
think that's
Sharon.
more likely, isn't it? Like, I think we'd be kidding ourselves that COVID hasn't massively affected stories and filming schedules and all of that sort of thing. And I imagine it is very different compared to how it was supposed to be.
I mean,
I think all the story beats would have been the same, just spread out. Like the marriage, like him being in intensive care, marriage, and then working behind the Vic within a week is quite a lot of content to
Yes,
take
it
in.
So the story was always meant to be this then? There was always meant to be
I
this
think
big...
so. I mean, when it came
yeah.
back, John Sen said, like, the reason we went off air is so that we could come back and have the exact same show we planned. So if you believe his quotes, which I don't anymore, I've lost all trust in John Sen. I don't believe his quotes anymore, so I don't read them.
Is ever since they said about Jags that was always meant to be Jag's story?
Yeah, I call bull. So I don't believe anything he says, but that's what he said. That's the reason, technically, why they spent all this time doing these techniques, is so they didn't have to change what they had planned.
I just wonder if instead of having, maybe if they focused more on Ian and Sharon, this story, rather than having these, I would have happily had them drop some other stories so that they could have focused harder on the Ian story. So it made it a little bit more believable. It made other suspects, a little bit more suspicious that you actually believed that it could have been them. I would have happily let them drop some stories for that. I know that they did when it was the Mick Carter and them trying to buy the pub and hello Kathy and all that came back. Well, I forget his name.
Wilmot Brown.
When Wilmot Brown came back, that they focused a lot on that story, and so they kind of a lot of other stories kind of got forgotten, and there was literally just a one story show at one point. And as much as I didn't like that for this, because it was meant to be their big comeback Christmas story, I think I would have been happy for them to drop some stories for it.
Yeah, I mean, but I think we're also... I mean, I would have loved that too. I'm a big fan of sort of two-hander, three-handers and all that kind of thing. And if you would tell me that we was going to have a similar sort of thing to the sort of Pat, Peggy, Frank, Roy thing for an entire week, I'd have been delighted with that. Unfortunately, like I think we've all discussed at some point, it's not the... I don't think they're trying to chase that sort of audience at the moment. The sort of people that are willing to watch these people be characters. They want to sort of keep this fast-paced, adrenaline high sort of storytelling. Which the problem with storytelling like that is it wears itself out quite quickly.
And
Until
also,
until we're left.
it feels like they're not trying to make a soap, and it's like this. Do you have to remember this is a soap, guys?
Yeah.
Like it feels like they're trying to make some sort of 9 p.m. drama, and it's like that's fine if you are a 9 p.m. drama, but you're a soap. So like, stay in your lane.
Rob made a good point about 2-3 weeks ago. You said that you like
Did
to
I?
when you did, believe it or not.
Sounds unlike me.
Must have missed that.
Yeah.
You said that when you're watching a soap, you want to be absorbed by character,
Oh, yes.
and you want to be
love
involved.
it.
And so that it was your point about incidental music, which I won't bring up again. But basically, what you said was, and I agree with you, is that when you're watching a soap, you want to be invested in watching. It's almost as if you're sat there watching it happen in front of you, rather with the drama you're watching a drama, if that makes any sense. So the 9 p.m. drama. And it always comes back to me when there was an interview with John Sen and he said he wants to make it relatable to the Netflix generation, and we were watching trailers for new shows that are coming to Netflix over Christmas, and every single trailer you could see the stories were character based. So what does John Sen want? Does he want a character based Netflix generation
Merry Christmas, John Sen, by the way.
Yeah.
TV show, or does he want a 9 p.m.
I think when he found out Ben was coming on this episode, he won't be listening to it.
We're very good friends, actually.
Yeah.
yeah not blocked at all.
No.
I mean, the problem is that we want character, and we want it to be a soap. We want it to be relatable, and that's the main problem. I feel is like the Slaters are the only ones relatable this Christmas.
Which is the one story that I would put above everything else.
The Trumans did a good show, I feel.
We're before we do anything else, before we chat about anything else, Ben has prepared a little game for Rob and I. A Christmassy game.
Forget about that.
I hope you're all ready to join in. What's the game called, Ben?
Long-term listeners may know this, so Rob, if you don't, I'm very upset. It's Cat Slater's Secret Santa.
Yes.
So it's time to play Cat Slater's Secret Santa.
Right, so long-term listeners will know, because I've played this game many times of once. So if you don't know it, you're not a real fan. It's Cat Slater's Secret Santa. Now, what's Cat Slater been up to? She's bought presents for all the people on the square, but unfortunately she wrapped them without putting a name on, so she's forgotten who each one is for. So she's now unwrapping them, and she's going to say...
Martins.
That doesn't rhyme.
Yeah, but Martin did that this episode.
Shut up. So you have to... Basically, I'm going to say a present to you, and you have to buzz in with a you bitch or a you cow.
Who's who, Ben?
Barbs.
Who's who?
Alex is a bitch, and
I'm a
Rob's
bitch.
a cow.
I've written down cow, hang on.
Well, tough.
No, so I'm going to change my buzzer that you told me off mic that I was going for, yeah? So I'm now you cow, okay?
You are, you cow.
You bitch.
You cow.
We've used our quota of swearing now, we can't do it anymore.
No, the bleep machine's screwed now.
So basically, I'm going to say a present, and you have to guess who on the square that present belongs to.
Okay.
What's the prize?
I love games. Right, go on, sorry.
The prize is that you won, and you get to host the show from now on.
Oh.
But it also means you have to edit the show. So, you know.
Congratulations, Alex, on your victory.
So they're all people who are still on the show this year.
Okay.
So it's not like Lisa Fowler. Or was Lisa Fowler this year?
Lisa Fowler was in it briefly.
I don't know. It's not someone like Zainab, for example.
Okay, but have they been on the show and they might have left in the year?
One of them might have.
Oh, I wonder who.
Some of them are easier than others, these questions, by the way, everyone, because it's Christmas and I'm a bit fun. Okay, so the first present that Kat needs to pair up is she's bought someone a pair of Skechers.
Any more clues?
No, there is no clue. That is the clue.
Oh, Skechers.
They're a pair of shoes, by the way, everyone.
I got some of them.
Other shoes are available.
This is quite a random thing because it was literally shown in one scene that someone was wearing them.
Oh, you bitch. Tiff.
No.
Oh, okay.
Any wild guesses? Anyone before I move on?
You
I've
cow.
had my guess.
Okay.
You cow.
Yeah.
Keegan?
No. I will. Shall I tell you now? Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
it was Phil Mitchell.
What? When
Because
did Phil wear Skechers?
When
Other shoes are
Callum
available.
was hiding in the pit when the bug thing was happening, Phil walked by the pit and he was wearing black Skechers. Did you not know?
No. I did
Keep
not.
up, guys.
I was too busy looking for the bug, Ben.
Right, this one is a framed and signed cast photo of Anita Dobson.
You bitch.
Yeah, Alex?
Sharon.
That's correct. That's for
Yay!
Sharon to add to her collection of photos behind the Vic bar.
Collage. Past landlady's gone.
So now you've had two of these, you kind of know the thought process of my mind.
Yeah, random scene things and really obvious things. Yeah, we've got it. It's fine. We're there.
Right, the next one is Bible for beginners.
You bitch.
You cow.
Oh, was there a delay there? I'm going to go with Rob.
Yes.
No, I was
Massive delay.
first.
A
Hang
massive
on.
delay. There was about half an hour's worth of delay.
No, Rob,
there,
you
I
get your moment. Go. This is your moment.
Denise.
That's correct, Denise.
Yay.
Oh,
Is Alex
just-
sulking now?
Right, if we're playing a biased game here, I feel like I'm going to step back.
Okay, that's fine.
here we
No, I want to win, no, but I want to win.
This is the Christmas Day equivalent of someone throwing a massive strop over Trivial Pursuit now, isn't it?
Yeah, but in Trivial Pursuit, if it's your question, you answer it, you get the piece of pie.
Yeah, that's what happened.
No, it wasn't.
Right, next question, girls.
God, yes.
An expensive watch.
You bitch.
You cow.
That was Alex, I'm afraid.
Stacey.
No, that's wrong.
Oh, what?
You cow.
Rob, yes?
Ruby.
That's correct.
Hang on.
Stacey's already got an expensive watch.
Oh, for goodness sake. You said it's observations from the show.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
did
and it's
observe
also
that,
up for
Alex. What was your problem?
interpretation.
Oh, I'm doing.
Right, come on, guys. This is the one that you need to buzz in quick for, okay?
Okay.
Because it's really
Are
obvious.
you sure?
Yeah,
Because you'll tell me I'm wrong.
Miniature toy classic car collection. Who wants one of them?
You bitch.
Yes?
Oh, no, it can't be. I was going to say Phil, but you've done Phil once
Yeah,
already.
Phil's already gone. He's got his
Miniature
gift.
car collection.
Classic car
You
collection.
cow?
Yes, Rob?
No, I don't know that at all. Raymond? I don't know.
No, it's Kush.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because he missed out on his heist money, didn't he?
Oh, okay. That was quite a meta one. I'll give you that. Yeah.
Oh, they're all meta. Right, this one, come on.
No.
This is a delivery of 48 bags of hula hoops to Dickon Hill Prison.
You cow.
Rob?
Jags.
That's correct.
What
He
flavour
won't be
hula
eating that
hoops?
anymore. He's lost a lot of weight in prison, actually.
Yeah.
That was a throwback to last year's Secret Santa because he also got a bag of hula hoops last year.
Oh, right.
So any long-term listeners will know. Thanks, Rob.
Is this just for the
No,
long-term
right.
listeners?
I pay attention.
Okay, this is a coupon for Louisa Bradshaw White's breathing app, lulu.com.
You cow.
Yes, Rob?
Rainy.
Nope.
Oh.
You bitch.
Yes.
Is it literally this meta, Tina?
No, she wouldn't. No. If you haven't researched her new app, it's for releasing anxiety by breathing techniques.
Other breathing techniques apps are
Do we
out
want another buzz in after that clue?
Are they?
there. Yeah, she has got the niche market on this one, I think. Okay, you bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, anxiety. Oh, Mick.
That's correct.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Right.
What's the scores on the doors at the moment?
Someone has bought a CD player.
You cow.
Rob?
Oh my god. Well, no. Well, it depends who. I mean,
Kat
someone.
bought this.
Sonia.
He took too much time.
No, that Sonia is incorrect.
Oh.
You bitch.
Yes.
Kat Slater.
What, Kat bought it for herself?
Oh, did you?
You
Yeah.
cow.
Yes, Rob?
Jack.
Nope.
You bitch.
Yes, Alex?
Whitney.
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, of course. Oh my god.
Because it was Whitney's CD player that got broken by Kat.
Yes.
All the clues are there.
Now we're cooking on
Oh,
branding.
now you're happy, are you? Enjoying this game now, are you?
Yeah, now I'm getting actual.
Almost giddy.
I'm getting listened to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Home workout equipment and a workout plan by Joe Wicks.
You bitch.
Yes, Alex?
Jack Branning.
No, he doesn't need it. He's muscly already.
He is.
Who likes working out?
You cow.
Oh,
cow.
Yes, Rob?
Grey.
Nope.
You
Although that
bitch.
would be lovely. Yes, Alex?
Peter Bill.
That's correct.
Yes.
He is a PT trainer after all.
He is. He did it at least once.
Hate this game.
Oh no!
Right.
Oh, do you?
This is a subscription to online newspapers. So you don't have to have your physical newspapers anymore. You just got them on your tablet.
You bitch.
Yes, Alex?
Suki.
Nope. She doesn't believe in the gutter press.
Also, she's got a
doesn't.
newspaper.
She's got her own media empire anyway.
Yeah. The Panasar Empire.
This is quite an odd thing. It's a character who sits around reading newspapers a lot.
Oh, I know, but I'm going to give Rob a chance to guess.
Yeah, come on, Rob. How have you observed?
Oh, yes, you cow. Is it Max?
That's correct,
Yes.
Max Branning. Right, you're both on 4 points each.
Are we?
And this is the
How did
last
that happen?
question.
This is the last question.
Oh my god.
Oh, right. Okay.
I'm
no.
genuinely tense.
I'm taking this very seriously
Yeah,
now.
likewise.
Okay.
And there's
I'll
no
argue.
delay. We know there's no delay. So if
No,
I
no,
say
we don't.
yeah, we do. So if I say you bitch first, I go first.
Right. go on.
Right, this is a copy of the book How to Lose Friends and Alienate People.
You bitch.
You cow.
Oh, Alex.
Oh.
Ian Bill.
Nope.
Oh.
Rob, this is your chance for fame
Oh my
and
god.
fortune.
Oh no.
Don't-
How to lose friends and alienate people.
Yep.
Mick.
Nope. Anyone else?
Yeah, we're going to keep guessing because we have to. You can't
Yeah,
end
you
on
have
a
to.
tie. You can't
Yeah,
end
we
on a
have
tie.
to.
Don't put my phone down.
Oh, you
now.
bitch.
Yes, Alex.
Gray.
Nope.
Your turn, Rob.
Peter.
No, Peter's already had his present.
How to lose friends and alienate people.
Who's not very good at making friends on the square?
Suki.
You haven't
You
buzzed
cow.
in.
You bitch. You bitch.
Yes,
Cow.
Rob.
I said it.
Yes, Rob.
Suki.
That's correct.
Oh,
Yes! I win, you lose, I win, you lose, I win, you lose. The second verse, same as the first. I win, you lose.
Well, there you
This
go.
will be Rob's last time on the show. I'm telling you now. Oh, I thought I got you there. When you said the answer and him buzzed in, I thought, yes!
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So, Kat's Christmas is saved,
You're welcome, Kat.
For some of the residents.
apart from Phil Mitchell and Kush. But there you go. So that was Kat Slater's Secret Santa.
Well, after that atrocious game,
It was a great game, Ben. Really enjoyed that. Well done.
I think the only winner was Rob there. The listeners were, and myself, were the losers combined in that.
Of course.
Oh, I see. So because you lost, the listeners have suffered. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think the listeners are on my side.
I don't know what you I don't know what other result you expected from, if you're going to play against Poirot, that's what happens.
Yeah, you probably got given the answers before we started.
Yeah, well, that's research for you.
Prove it.
I think there was someone coughing in the background. Anyway, back to the show. And
Meg to my friends.
We are talking about the continued deterioration of the marriage between Mick and Linda. Max is loving every minute of it. Just letting himself into the flat now because he basically sees their maritable house as his own.
He's such a pig.
Calling Linda my woman.
Yeah. You're beautiful, you are.
Ugh.
No one else can see it, but I can. I love you, Linda. Come here, you beauty. Oh, yeah. Prime bit of meat.
Honestly, I don't know what character has been assassinated the most this week. Like, I thought Sharon was going to peg it by being a vicious, murdering, scheming bitch. But, like, Linda is now sleeping with Max, and it's just, what is going on?
And the fact she's so blasé about it, too. She's not even trying to hide it anymore. I know that Mick
No, she was
knew.
until Max Buddy walked in and be like, I've slept with her, Mick.
Yeah, but Mick has already said, Mick was like, did you have a good night? And Linda was like, yeah. And then she went straight to Max.
Great.
Yeah, straight to Max. It was like, he knows. And Max was like, good. Rubbed hands together and went storming into the house and said, right, Mick, you might as well just give up, really. I don't care about your pain and your deterioration and your your depression. I just want to take your wife from you. Charming Max, as always.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a hideous human being, but then, if we're talking about characters that have been assassinated, Max sadly isn't one of them.
No, this is just a normal day for Max, isn't it?
Yeah.
God, it's really annoyed. Like, this whole Carter rewriting history of Mick's in care and all sorts. So I've accepted my fate. That's happened. And now they're making Linda sleep with Max, and Mick doesn't care, and all he does is narrow his eyes all the time, and we keep seeing the same scene over and over again with him and Katie, and it's just like, stop dragging this out to New Year's and just get on with it, please. It's like, it feels like when they kept...
It's not long till New Year's now.
I know, but it feels like centuries. Like, how many times have we seen Mick narrow his eyes at Linda, pick up the phone,
stare at her?
Yeah, call Katie, walk around the square with her, and then she disappears.
She had a new haircut this time. That didn't happen on the first 17 times we
New
watched
haircut?
it, so.
Who? Katie?
Yeah, did you not notice? She had new hair. And the Boxing Day episode, I thought, it looked shorter.
Oh, it was tucked into her coat and her scarf, wasn't it?
No, I thought she had new hair. I mean, this, this is what you get.
I always notice new hair. Jack had a haircut, I noticed as well.
I didn't notice that. But then I don't really notice Jack full stop, so I guess that's why.
If we're going to talk about hair and the Carters, can we just talk about Mick's hair? That really horrible slick back.
It's like Danny DeVito.
Oh, it's like he's kind of put his hand in a vat of gel and just like just pulled it. You know, like when you were a kid and you used to go to the school disco and you used to be allowed to use like your mum's mousse and your dad's like Brill cream. You literally used to put it all in your hair so you looked really cool.
No, I bought my own.
Oh, did you? Oh, lucky you.
Yeah, we lived in Brill cream.
It was a different time for me. And like,
60s.
Your hair, literally your hair would look like it's just been painted onto your head as you walk into the school hall, thinking you're the coolest thing ever.
Because I thought like Danny Dyer had that because of like the original lockdown, he couldn't get a haircut. No, but he's kept it.
We had it for the wall as well, the celebrity wall.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
So we're talking about Max. Max is getting pulled.
Oh, yeah.
I think Max is getting pulled from pillar to post now. I do feel a bit sorry for Max.
It's his own fault.
It's not his own fault.
Can
though,
I say
is
how
it?
ridiculous the when he was like, "We'll move in with Lauren." Has everyone forgotten her house burnt?
Lauren doesn't have a house
what
at the
happened
moment.
with that?
So Max offered to move with Linda to New Zealand, and
the shell that is Lauren's house now.
Yeah. They're just living in boxes on the street.
It's like, why write
Bring
it
Ollie.
in? Why write it in as part of a story and then just forget you wrote it in? And like they said that Nancy's moved to New Zealand, but Linda didn't say, "Oh yeah, I could see Nancy." Like, why have they written these two pointless things in about Lauren and Nancy and then forgotten they did it 2 weeks later anyway?
Oh, I know why.
Why?
Plot, because they just they needed to fill something in at the time.
But that's such an easy win to like back up this move to New Zealand, which is ridiculous because New Zealand has literally been locked down since lockdown 1.
I mean,
why are the writers then saying that?
They all seem to be travelling all over the place. I think there was discussions of going on holiday at one point this week.
Yeah, Gray was buying plane tickets.
That's
Tina.
right. Oh, yeah. So you can't really. I think.
And Shirley was like, "A plane? What's that?
Yeah, what's one of those? I've not seen them in the sky for a long time.
Steel birds.
An airport, a port for air. No, yeah. I mean, I think as we've
It's just so
discussed
ridiculous.
before. Well, we discussed before, like COVID is acknowledged up to a point
When it
in
needs to be.
Walford.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you can't lock down the entire. There has got to be some sense of normality in. I mean, to be fair, EastEnders more than any of them have been trying to really push like everything looking normal on screen. So the fact that the characters are allowed to just fly between countries, why not? You know,
I know, but it's like of New Zealand of all the countries, like we know that's literally the strictest one. Like they could have chosen anywhere, but they were like, no, I'm going to write in New Zealand. I
they
think
can't be that strict. They let Lauren in the first place.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Although Lauren does have a week-long degree in computer programming and website design.
That's true.
So we must remember that from time to time.
I don't believe anything about like Linda like wanting to move away or Max being like, I love you, and it's just
I
like.
don't think she does want to move away, does
No.
she, really?
No,
She's seeing it as
I
more of a
wouldn't.
kind of knee-jerk reaction to what Mick's doing. I can believe that that Max is, like, throwing on... Because he's always been very easy to tell women that he loves them. Because she slept with him, so of course that he loves her, you know? Oh, you did what I wanted you to. I love you.
Yeah,
That's
that's
just
it,
the
isn't
Max
it?
way, isn't it?
Yeah, Max spins it so in his head. I mean, Max must have some kind of problems in his noggin because he just thinks that as soon as a woman shows him an ounce of affection, then that he wants to spend the rest of his life with them.
I blame his dad.
I do.
Yeah.
Well, Jim, he was very violent with them when they were younger.
He could have said, we'll go stay with Carol in the mountains.
Well, but no one really knows where Carol
Siberia.
is. Last time Carol was
She's in
mentioned,
the mountains doing yoga.
Well, Sonia was having a donut, wasn't she, in the
I thought
cafe?
she went to Ireland the last time I heard from
No, that's Dot, isn't it? Dot and Dotty.
I know, but I thought Carol had gone motorcycling around the mountains of Ireland or
Oh
something
no, she
like
done that. She's,
right,
she's finished
okay.
that.
Yeah,
No,
she's met a man and she's happy on top of a mountain doing yoga.
She's happy on top of the
Under
mountain.
a waterfall.
I'm glad you said that. I mean, but it kind of goes back to our point which we made months ago. That is that talking about Max's past and his dad, and would this story have suited Max better? With the whole kind of abuse,
Yeah, maybe.
flashbacks story.
Yeah, there's lots of characters that would have suited better than Mick.
The thing is, though, you sort of feel as though because Max is so sort of ready to take on any emotional thing that remotely happens to him. He'll smash his head on a mirror when he's a bit upset and all of that sort of thing. It would feel as though Max would have dealt with this. They would have done this thing with Max a lot earlier than now after. After Jim's died and all of that sort of thing. I feel like I know what you mean. It would suit Max as a character, but
Or Stuart.
or any of
Or
them,
literally
really.
anyone. Like
Yeah.
the fact that they wrote in that he was in this care home with Katie is so ridiculous. Because we know so much about the Carter's past. That's the trouble. There wasn't any blank spaces. And
No, because they so
created
if
one.
anything, they overwrote the
Yeah,
Carters
exactly.
in the first few
And it's
years
like,
of them being there. So it's kind of like, well, you're the one that told us this, so sorry.
But this is why it feels like the Carters are being destroyed so much, because we knew so much. Their history had been written so well and so with detail. And even when it was adjusted slightly here and there, it was never enough to make us not believe what was happening. And now with this story, it feels like it just feels unbelievable.
I think part of that is also, I think Danny Dyer is just struggling. Like, I know he said this is the best storyline I've ever been given. I'm really privileged. But, like, his performance is so one note that at the beginning I was slightly impressed. But, like, weeks later I'm like, he's not giving me anything. And
I
it's
don't
like
feel
he
like
just
he's-
narrows his eyes. And
I
it's
don't feel like he's really been given a lot to react to.
No.
You know what I mean? Like like you say, it's kind of him. Linda saying, "Talk to me, Mick," and Mick just standing there
Grunt.
saying nothing. And then, like I say, you'll ring Katie and kind of have some little mini scene with her, and then that's just like you say, it's just that on repeat. So I don't feel like you can exactly throw all your acting chops into something like that. We might be absolutely floored by his performance New Year's Day when it all comes to a head, because
Yeah, but
is
you've
that
got
going to be the end of his
news-
story?
You've got the news of the flashbacks with the young Mick, and it's like,
I mean-
okay, so they don't trust Danny Dyer to do this, so let's
Genuinely-
just shoe in a flashback with a young kid.
Genuinely, Alex completely, I had no idea that was happening until Alex told me that last week.
You're welcome.
So I've had time to digest the news since then. I mean, I don't know. It depends how they do it. It's good. I can imagine it being. Do we know who they've cast as young Mick?
Yeah.
So some boy.
So it's a kid. It's a kind of like a.
He's like from a theatre school, whatever it is, isn't he? I think.
So they've
Okay.
probably cast a good actor to do it. And we still don't know who young Stuart is, and I'm still praying
Is that we
bald.
actually getting a young?
No.
And I want a young Stuart. I'm desperate for young Stuart.
There might be a young Tina.
Well, I think it's the actor and actress
Just this
who was
bald
in...
kid pulling legs off ladybirds in the background.
They're in that photo.
I was going to say
actually.
it's the three actors that are in the photo that Mick had.
Yeah, that Tina
being
gave
given by
him.
Tina this week. So all those are the
Oh,
actors
okay.
who are playing the different characters.
But like, just trust in your actors and trust in the script, and don't give me a flashback. I don't need a flashback.
But if they were to do a flashback, can you imagine Danny Dyer dressed up in a school uniform, pretending to be an 8-year-old child? Were you saying that Danny Dyer, they don't have confidence in Danny Dyer playing like...
Yeah, and I also said, don't give me a flashback.
I've got less confidence in Danny Dyer in a school uniform.
Oh, I'd like that.
Oh, no.
That'd make my day.
So, I'm just not looking for the whole of New Year. Like next week, I think your podcast is going to be basically them because the whole episode is a Carter.
We might love the story by then.
Yeah, maybe.
So Shirley's found out. Shirley has
Let's
found
move
out.
on.
Yeah, Shirley's found out by Mick telling them over Christmas dinner, which he was invited to, but didn't want Linda to come along because he wanted Ollie to feel like,
get used to them
being
apart.
broken up. And Shirley goes storming to Linda. Max is there with his glass of wine, looking all smug, and she has a go at Linda, but Mick defends Linda. So is Mick...
Yeah, the love's still there. That suggests to me that it's another thing they're going to recover from in the long run. It's not going to break them up permanently because clearly they're setting the groundwork for... Linda doesn't really want any of this to happen. She's only gone with Max because she was drunk in the first place.
Was she drunk?
I didn't know
she was. Well, no, she was because she went when the night that they slept together. She turned around to him and said, "Can I have a glass of wine, please?" And Max was like, "Yeah, there you go. There's a bottle."
Oh, that really annoyed me.
Yeah, I know, right?
That is so awful.
It was a horrific moment for Max, but
someone made a really good point on YouTube, actually, on the comments, saying that why would Max encourage Linda drinking when his daughter is an alcoholic?
Well, yeah, Lauren, yeah. That's just stupid. But that was last week. That's forgotten now. Yeah. I mean, we didn't see Linda drink, did we? But
but we didn't see her sleep with Max either, and we have told reliably that it happened. And Mick clearly is gonna, as soon as he's got something clicks in his head with everything that's going around in there, he'll be dying to get Linda back, and they'll be absolutely fine, and then Max will bugger off somewhere. So I don't feel like it's actually going to affect them that much as a couple. I think they're still going to be together after this is over.
But where do you go with them? This is the end. Every time we end this section, we always say, where do they go? And I personally feel...
To New Zealand.
Yeah, I personally feel that there's a path for Linda.
Lauren Shell.
There's story for Linda, but there's no story for Mick.
No, I think it's a shame that Max is leaving. I know that's a weird thing for me to say because I don't particularly like Max, but like him and Linda actually work well together, and her and Kelly Bright and Jake Wood have a real good chemistry. And like if it wasn't announced that Max was leaving, I think I would be slightly more invested in this storyline, but because I know Jake Wood's left, it's like, well, I know this is going to have no consequence, like most things.
Well, it will have a consequence, though. It's an unnecessary chink in the armour of Mick and Linda. It's destroyed Mick and Linda. Where can they go?
They weren't that great to start off with before even this story started, really. They weren't that steady.
No, they weren't. But then the audience was always encouraging them to become back to what everyone remembered them being. And they were on that path, really.
I wouldn't be surprised if, like, Danny or Kelly do leave, because like Tina's leaving, they only leave Shirley, Mick and Linda as the Carters.
Yeah, the Carters have now basically a shell of their former self.
From like 14 of them.
They're literally the Walford family equivalent of Lauren's house now. And the whole strength of the Carters when they first came on the screen was A, how many of them there were, B, how much of a really strong, secure family unit they were. So now all the kids have left. I don't know why Lee doesn't come back, because he was axed in the first place, so they could bring him back quite happily. Especially now that Mick's going through such a mental health storyline. Lee and Mick have got a lot in common at the moment, so I don't know why they don't bring him back.
Yeah, I'm surprised they never brought back Lee, actually, because they brought back Lee last year for Linda. For Linda.
What about Tina and Gray's situation, though?
Yes.
That heated up Boxing Day.
Well. I mean, Tina worked all that out pretty nicely, didn't she?
I thought like it was a really
slotted into place in her little brain.
I think it was like a really good performance though by with Tina. Like I don't think I've seen her being given that much meaty material before, but she really went for it. And like I kind of feel like Boxing Day was slightly better than Christmas Day because of those scenes. I really enjoyed them, and like when it's Gray and someone in a house alone, I always feel a bit unsure of what's going to happen, because like I kind of feel like anything can happen.
Especially when the dishwasher's open.
Knives up, Rob.
Knives up. Yeah, knives up.
Every time I empty the dishwasher in real life, this is. I do it every now and then. I always think of Chantal. Every time I do the dishwasher, I think of that scene. It's really like embedded in my head.
Genuinely, I don't know if I've ever said this on the podcast before. I have never, ever not gone into a house and seen like knives up in a dishwasher and not turn them over. I've been known to rearrange a complete stranger's dishwasher when the knives have been up. It's like, do you realise how dangerous that is? So, I mean, they wouldn't be lasting long if I went into Grace. I'd be like, excuse me, you carry on, I'm just going to rearrange your dishwasher. It's not safe.
Yeah, but you wouldn't last very long if Gray caught you doing that wrong.
No, that's true, no.
But everything felt so final with Tina on that episode. I feel like it was like the next episode it's going to open and Gray's going to be clearing up and he's going to be like, oh, Tina's left on her own.
Yeah, I felt that way
That's
too.
what I feel like, because the thing with her and Shirley felt so final.
Yeah,
when
it's
she
going
gave
to be
her
some
her
sort
necklace.
of in the air thing of did he kill Tina or did he not? He won't
probably in the
kill
basement.
Tina, surely.
I don't know. I think he might.
Oh, I don't. Okay, no, let's not turn Gray into a serial killer. It's not supposed to be that sort of storyline.
Well, no, it's not supposed to be, but it's.
I just about cling on to this guy that's killed his wife after domestically abusing her for years, and and now he's getting away with it for a little bit because everyone sees him as this sort of angelic figure in the square. I can just about buy that. I don't want him to then turn into Walford's next killer in terms of like another body turning up. It would be ridiculous.
I think we're going to be led to believe that he's killed her, but like
and then Tina.
She's in
the
basement or something, like where Claudette was.
Like Denise.
And like I think like that necklace is going to come into play, and Shirley's going to see it and be like, she wouldn't have left that, because Tina's the only one now who can physically reveal Gray's secret. Like, because she said, "You killed your wife." I think she's going to come. They're going to find out she's alive, and that's how it's going to come out. Because no one else can have this come out.
Well,
apart
there
from
are
Tina.
others. There's Mitch. Mitch is now beginning to question it again because Tina had told the kids that Chantal, their mum, wanted to run away, and so the kids have now told Mitch. And Mitch said, "Well, is this true?" And so there's Mitch. Jean had her suspicions.
Oh, that was like
Suki
one line.
had her suspicions.
Suki has her
Let's not
suspicions.
forget.
Correct.
Yeah, but
She's
none
got
of
much
them
of
are
the
brave
milk,
enough
yeah?
to confront him like Tina was.
Well, yeah, which is surprising actually. Of all the people,
Well, she doesn't think 2 steps ahead, does she?
Has Suki got her money back for the milk yet? Is the big
That's
question.
true. That's true. I hope it's if Gray does start getting rid of people to kind of cover his tracks of his. His initial
It would
murder.
be really.
He may
awful if
lose
they do
some
it.
slight credibility as a character if that continues.
Yeah, but I mean,
I think
we
it would be
discussed it.
dangerous as a domestic abuse.
Oh, I
storyline.
agree.
It's not the way to go.
it's the wrong
I
way to take
completely
that
agree
story.
with you, but this is current EastEnders, and what normally tends to be not the way to go tends to be the way they go. Do you know what I mean?
No, I think Tina will appear in like a blaze of glory. She'll
Skype
get Grey
next year.
done, and then she'll decide to like live her life, and she'll go.
In the Himalayas.
Yeah,
New
and, like,
Zealand
visit
with the rest of the
Zaza or
cast.
something like that. I think.
I prefer that though. I would prefer that, and I like actually the idea of you saying because they've used the basement of number 1 before, something like that where she's kind of being hidden, and I suppose that would bring back maybe that would trigger some of the past that she had with Stuart as well. Maybe if she's kept in an enclosed, very tight room, it might make Tina go even more on edge.
Or like Tina might feel like, why did no one look for me? I was kidnapped and missing. No one cared I was gone. Like maybe it would be like that angle, and then she'll be like, oh, I'm gonna go. Screw you, mum, or Shirley, or whoever she is. Sister, is she? Oh yeah, sister. And like
Twice
maybe that
removed.
is. But I don't think that Tina should be killed by a domestic abuser, seeing as she escaped
Yeah.
oh
a
yeah,
domestic
no, absolutely.
relationship, and like there needs to be
I don't
some
think she
pillar
will
of
be.
hope at
Now
the
we've
end of
talked
this
about it a lot
storyline.
more. I generally don't think. Yeah, no, they won't do that.
That's
Well,
another point though.
We all
What Ben
kind of
says
pause
is like she's
nervously.
already
They
escaped.
won't do that.
She's already escaped once from a domestic abuser, and to have this happen
Yeah.
to Tina
Yeah.
again.
And to have her like reveal one as well to the
Yeah.
square, and like I think there needs to be some hope on this storyline because it's
Yeah.
been so
Hopeless.
desperately hopeless. Like the whole thing has been so hopeless, and like with Chantal as a character,
Yeah.
like there needs to be some sort of light in this, surely.
I mean, realistically, how long does Gray have left as a character? Like, where else is it to take him? Is he still? Are we still thinking he's going to end up getting with Whitney at some point?
Well, this is what I was going to allude to. I mean, we've seen Tina kind of have this anger inside of her. So you're saying how long will Gray survive on the square? Do you think Tina will just go to the police and say, "Oh, Gray's done something naughty," or do you think Tina's going to get rid of Gray?
No, as
What,
in be the
murder
reason
Gray?
that he leaves.
Yeah.
No,
No?
hope not. No,
But
they don't need
it's-
another murder.
Okay,
on
but
the
say no, but then she'll leave. But it doesn't necessarily have to be on purpose. There's some. I mean, is there a way round?
No, that's such a. It's like Jeff on Corrie.
Well,
how
that's
he
where my
died.
thought comes from.
No,
but
that's such a fake out. I feel.
But
He
also
needs to
Whitney.
be-
Whitney accidentally murdered her. Wait, say Gray and
Leo,
Whitney got
yeah.
together. Whitney accidentally killed Leo. Whitney has her in her. We know she can. Whitney and
Only
Tina.
in extreme self-defense,
Yeah.
not in terms of like there's an open dishwasher there and push you onto it.
But
They
would,
need to stay away from deaths for a
but
while.
would there be a big scene? So say Gray gets together with Whitney, because I feel like that is where it's heading, and I think Whitney's. So you
It
saying
feels like it.
Tina's going to be the one who finds out? I feel like
But she's getting close to the kids, so like the kids might say things because they kind of knew that they were going away, didn't they?
But what if Whitney discovers Tina, and then together they then have this encounter with Gray, and then that's how Gray basically.
Yeah, but Louisa has finished filming, and she finished filming like November, I think. So it must be coming up soonish. So I'm wondering if she's going to be missing for a while in her basement, come back for like 2 episodes, and then leave.
I don't know, because it just kind of... I don't know what... Other than getting with Whitney, I don't know where else there is to take Gray, and for like, for us to start seeing that cycle starting again with him being a domestically violent person with who else but Whitney.
Yeah, we don't need it.
I
guess they're just waiting for the contracts. Was it summertime they arrived?
No idea. I can't remember that.
Yeah, but Gray might be on a new contract. We don't know what.
Well, he's lasted longer than Chantal, isn't he?
Yeah.
And Jags.
Yeah, a lot of people have outrun Jags. Let's be honest. Let's move on then
Okay, what's next?
to a nice story, a happy story, kind of ish. I
Really?
guess.
Can't think of what that could be.
Well, Denise is having her ultimate family Christmas. We saw Cherie. She just walked as if nothing had happened. She just walked into the room and was like, "Hi everyone,
Fabulous.
Cherie here. How are you all?"
She looked fabulous and started trying to sleep with Jack. It was brilliant.
She did. There was a little cheer in our house when Cherie walked in.
No, I love Cherie. They need to use her more. There's no reason they can't use her. I don't get
I can
it.
genuinely see her and Patrick starting an open relationship at some point, because he seems absolutely fine with her flirting with whoever.
With Ruby and Martin.
Yeah.
Yep, so we saw she was back, but she wasn't the only one back from the Foxes. Chelsea came back. Apparently they talk to each other every Sunday. Denise and Chelsea.
Yeah.
Every Sunday.
Well, we don't go to Walford on a Sunday very often, so I'm sure that we can't prove otherwise.
I
can we?
get that, but you think that Denise would say, like, oh, I spoke to Chelsea this week, and she said, da-da-da-da. No, never a mention.
Never.
But now she's mentioned. And Chelsea's been keeping a little bit of a secret herself, because she's been seeing her dad, who is freshly been released from prison.
Right. Let's just
No questions asked. was it
Let's
really?
just pull this apart, shall we?
They
So
skimmed
this-
over it quick, didn't they?
A serial killer has been released for rehabilitation with not a single police escort with him. Does that happen?
No, none of this.
No.
It's just
I said
ridiculous.
this when I first discovered that Lucas was coming back. It already didn't make sense to me in terms of like I didn't know any of the story details around it, but I was like, there genuinely is not a way for him to come back and it to make sense.
And you were
Lo
right.
and behold, I was right. What? So he's been released for rehabilitation so that he can go and give preachers at the church that Raymond and Denise were at.
I know, it's so like convoluted and like
I don't
fits
get why
together.
they thought that he was like how. This is a guy that tried to escape from prison 5 years ago.
It wasn't even 5, it was 2017, wasn't it? 17-16, he escaped and got arrested again.
So they
And,
think
like,
that he's good. They think that he's good to be let out now and again.
I know, it's ridiculous. And the fact that no one questioned it as well makes it so flimsy in the writing. It's like, is Lucas really that needed for this?
Lucas is the Sideshow Bob of EastEnders, isn't he?
Yeah, and they got the same writing
he
team.
has Hate and Denise on both of his knuckles, you know?
Killed Denise, killed her. I mean, oh my god! And then the fact that, like, when you saw Ruby walking through the streets, and you could just see, like, he was sort of must resist becoming serial killer again.
Yeah, what was that with Ruby? That was a really strange
it was
moment when he
weird.
kind of looked over the square, saw Ruby. Have they met before,
No.
Lucas and Ruby? Okay.
Well, I was
Or
wondering
Martin.
if there was going to be many moments of like anybody recognising Lucas who wasn't necessarily like Ben. Please, Mr. Johnson, what are you going to do?
They
something
probably
like
know
that.
each other in prison or something.
No, nothing like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's also seemed a bit strange that Chelsea decided to take
His
Lucas's side without any kind of questioning it. I get that
Again, this
she is his
a guy
father.
that, yeah, but this is a guy that took his mother hostage, made her believe that her mother was dead, then took them all hostage, and then was eventually arrested after being revealed as a serial killer.
It is,
Why would she forgive him for any of that? I know that she kind of blamed Denise for some of it, but like, come on.
and it's so weak that like her reasoning was like, well, you haven't told me about Raymond. It's like those two things are not the same
Yeah,
thing.
they're unrelated
It's
things.
like, I mean, before we get too negative, like the actress of Chelsea
Before we
was
do
actually, I thought she was really good, actually. The actress.
She was good.
I thought it
And-
was performed really
Yeah,
well.
and that scene between them both in the Truman House was actually like she stood up with Diane Parrish quite well,
Yeah, it was
like
strong.
on her first scene, which isn't an easy task.
No, it was a really strong scene.
So well done there. Round of applause there.
Yes.
But the story itself is so like, it just feels like, and like Boxing Day, it wasn't really mentioned, and it's like,
Well, it was only.
what was the point?
To be fair, the whole story really, again, was almost a Slater story. It all happened on Christmas Day. Christmas Day was very much nothing to do with anything that kind of built up to that point, apart from the reveal, obviously Sharon's reveal. But like, it was almost little stories kind of took over the day. But I mean, we knew that a story for Denise was going to be well performed. We just need the story to kind of follow it, I think.
It needs some sort of realism in it. Like, this is just, there's so many things that you could pick apart that make no sense, and it's like, is this story they want to tell worth all those things that don't make sense? Is it worth telling this story, really?
I mean, is this just literally just to bring Chelsea back? Because presumably Lucas isn't coming back full time.
No, he's here for a handful of episodes, they've said.
Which I think
what? This is literally just to bring Chelsea back as a full-time character.
I don't know. I imagine they're going to kill Lucas, is what I'm...
Oh, I hope they don't. I'd rather they maybe Lucas, like Sideshow Bob, he tries to kill Denise again, and that like he basically gets
Chelsea
caught.
saves,
maybe during like when they're doing an operatic on a boat. And
There's that weird quote when they said Chelsea. They did an interview with her, the actress who plays Chelsea, and she said, "Oh, Chelsea might be a bit more like her dad than her mum, actually, than what we remember." And it's like, no, please no.
Walking around with a big old
It's
fork.
like, yeah, not everyone needs to be a reincarnation of their parents on EastEnders. And it's like, so are we going with Dark Chelsea now? Is that where we're heading?
No.
And does anyone want
No,
Dark
I think
Chelsea?
it's just going to be ignorant Chelsea, essentially, isn't it? Because again, we've already got a Chelsea back that is already ignorant of the facts and is just kind of doing things for her own sort of gain and ignoring Denise and having a go at Denise and almost letting her serial killer father back into her life just to get one over on Denise in a lot of ways. So it just doesn't make any sense, but I would like it to start making sense. I may be waiting a while, but
can it? Yeah.
That's the problem. Can it
Of
make
well.
sense? Can it make sense that already after one episode, there's already so many different bits of it to pull apart? It's kind of like, how are they planning on making this like in the remotest bit sensible?
I am pleased that they brought Lucas back, though. I do love the character of Lucas, and he's one of those characters that I think you could, logistics aside, you can bring him back for a handful of episodes, and it's enjoyable to watch it. And it's one of the moments this Christmas where I genuinely enjoyed it and watched it and wanted to talk about it.
Is he going to go after Ruby then, or is it just supposed to be any woman can trigger him?
But what's Ruby done? I mean, for him to get triggered, they have to have done something. So what? I just don't know. Is there a past that I'm
The way that you offered me that kebab was so slutty.
Maybe they're going to go into like how Ruby has like an open, you know how she's quite open relationship. Maybe he sees like that as a sin, and like because he gets funny about that, doesn't he?
Yeah, but he doesn't know that about her.
No, yet, but like he might learn like she's a sinner.
Lucas has moles on the square that
well,
tells him information.
when I think didn't Denise wear like some sexy lingerie once, and he like punished her for it. So like he is a bit funny with free women, I guess. Maybe that's where they're going to go, but then you only have a handful of episodes to get there, so it's a bit like, what can they really,
one already because he wasn't in it.
What story can they really tell in a handful of episodes that's going to be payoff enough to believe he was released from prison?
Yeah, I'm tentative going into this story moving forwards, to say the least, but
I would rather that they focused on Lucas's story with Denise personally, and that there is some kind of revenge story, because then that would make the statement that he is only in a few episodes more understandable. But for them to kind of seemingly spin off a new story with Ruby doesn't
maybe
seem to
that
make
was
sense.
just there to remind the viewers.
It might have just been the fact that Ruby represented an attractive sort of free woman in his mind, so that was enough to trigger him. I'm a murderer. That we might never see Ruby again during this story. And to be, you say that Lucas can keep returning, but it's, to me, that story just felt finished. It felt finished the last time that he came back. I didn't see the point in bringing Lucas back last time.
But
so
I don't know if it's finished. I don't think it has finished for Lucas. Lucas would always see Denise as like this ultimate, almost ruined his life, but still loves
so many
him.
times a killer can come out of prison. Yeah, the Sideshow Bob comparison is fun, but at the same time, it's not remotely realistic.
Yeah, it's got issues. it's just, it didn't, like a Christmas Return. It was just like, oh, you shouldn't be able to pull plot
If it's not
apart
Janine
like
stepping
this.
out of a taxi with high heels on, I don't want to hear it.
Wasn't it really weird that we haven't mentioned it, that scene where they played all those photos on the wall?
I loved that. I was drunk by that point.
I half
but I
loved
really
it.
I got a little bit emotional when Peggy was there though.
Oh, yeah, that was really good.
It did make me a little bit.
I feel like
I liked the slideshow.
Yeah, I feel like it went
I'll fight
on
you for
slightly too long, like
No,
20 seconds too long.
no,
It was
I don't
like,
know.
and it was only cast members who were shown. Not everyone else watching was like, who the hell are these people?
Did you want Julia Smith and Tony Holland to appear
Well,
on
like
there or
Tracy
something?
or Winston's family, they hadn't got a clue. There was all those extras around watching these. Can you imagine if you went to your like town and like you saw these photos of these random people?
The
who
main
used to live
characters
there?
of the town.
Like, I don't even know who the hell that is. Who is that? I don't care about this random woman called Pat. Who the hell is she? So I thought, it was a bit like, it felt a bit meta, some bits.
No, I loved the slideshow. I was quite happy with the slideshow. Like I say, Bailey's loved it.
I think it was done on purpose, wasn't it? It was the old tradition of let's pull your heartstrings.
Yeah.
Let's deliberately get people to feel nostalgic over Christmas.
I liked Ben's nod to Abby, finally.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
well,
I love that they
about
put
time.
Abby. Oh, Abby.
He finally reacted to his friend's death, so...
But the only problem with that scene was where when they put the slide of Ian Beale dies 25th of December
Who
2020.
did that? Did we find out? Was it Peter?
It was Peter, wasn't it?
Peter.
Oh, yeah, because
Yeah.
he got arrested.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
kept arresting people
I know,
all the
they
time.
arrested everyone. And
That's
also, I love
Walford
that
police.
the police officers just kind of give information away. Jack was telling everyone what was happening. That police officer buying a bottle of wine for his friend's party was buying,
yeah.
everyone just reveal information. But yeah, when they showed that slide and then they added a slow motion of everyone kind of looking at Ian.
Oh, I know.
And also, why did Ben put his fingers up like a gun figure?
just
and
being
shoot?
cocky,
Because
wasn't
Ben's
he?
an arsehole.
Yeah, well, I thought that was a
I haven't
bit...
even mentioned all the awful sound effects and editing. I hate them all, by the way.
Well,
But I've just
I mean-
become so numb to this rubbishness that it's like that's the least of their problem.
I think
No,
there was a
I mean,
choir following the cast throughout the whole episode, like constantly singing behind them.
I mean, to be fair, because I don't watch Emmerdale, but I do watch Coronation Street, so I caught the end of Emmerdale as Corrie was starting, and I can tell you, they all had it across the whole episode.
Yeah, but have they had it across the year?
Corrie, have you not seen some of the things that Corrie have been doing recently?
No,
The producer
apart
of Corrie, when he started, gave an interview saying that he didn't want to throw too many things like that in because Corrie is sort of, according to him, is the soap that all the other soaps kind of bounce off. So it's like if the main instrument starts going off in weird places and the other instruments sound weird or something, some weird analogy. And then what EastEnders has never done is what a clip I think I sent it to Alex of like just a character randomly bursting into song in the middle of a scene or something like that. I mean, I don't want to give anyone ideas, but it's something that is now so common across the soaps. I feel like we just have to get used to it because it's not like it's just a John Sen thing that he likes to do in his programs. It's like it's a thing in soaps now.
As I've said, if just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. If everyone was jumping off the end of a
Also,
I'm not
cliff, would you
disagreeing
jump
with
off the cliff
that.
too, Rob?
Also,
Would you?
EastEnders do it every episode. Like, I wouldn't mind if it was just that one at Christmas or like when Max and Linda slept with each other. But the fact that we have it every episode for like the most mundane things, I hate it. They should be used for things that are big moments, and like
even
not
then.
every single thing is a big moment.
Not even then, in my view.
um,
But there you go. That's where we're at.
Did you want to talk about Patrick's threat to Lucas, or should we just leave it at that?
Was it a threat? Like, let's be honest here. You've got a sort of young, fit serial killer versus how old's Patrick now?
Don't underplay Patrick.
I think
I'm not
Patrick-
underplaying
he's
Patrick.
like
I'm just
Popeye.
sort of pointing out the logistics, if you will.
Yeah, but he's like Popeye with his spinach. Once Patrick's got rum inside of him, he's got his fists up like the rest of them.
I think
Gamer.
Patrick will be the one who kills Lucas.
Who do you think?
Patrick.
You
I
think-
think he'll be the one that ends it. Or if he's not the one that kills him, he'll take the blame. And because he's elderly, he won't go to prison.
Oh no, that doesn't happen in the real world. Patrick,
So?
you're so elderly.
Neither just serial
we'll let
killers
you-
being let out on for
Yeah, there's no anything's game at the moment.
When you're 75, you get a free TV license and you get released from prison. That's how it works.
They've
in the
arrested
UK.
Tina 4 times. Anything goes.
Well, they were arresting everyone. They didn't know who was the blooming.
There is no
Yeah,
logic anymore.
Walford police being rubbish isn't exactly a new thing, is it? I mean, for God's sake, this is the police force that took on Callum Highway as their latest copper. So,
Lovely. Oh, has anyone got anything else that they like to point out that they enjoyed at Christmas this
amongst
year?
everything else, I actually did enjoy this week.
No, I did. I actually thought it was a good Christmas week. And
It was. I think it was one. To be honest, I'm gonna go on record and say that actually, in terms of Christmas Day episodes, it was. I would say that this year's Christmas episode was probably one of my favourites that they've done in quite a long time.
Are you
I
still
enjoyed
drunk?
it. No,
Are
I
you on
enjoyed it.
drugs?
I enjoyed it. No, I enjoyed it more than I. What was last year's? No,
Last
I
year was
think
the
last year's.
Last year's was
Linda
the
drunk.
stupid flashback
Meh.
shooting Keanu.
Yeah, no, it
Warehouse.
wasn't that. But it was alright. But I liked this one more. It felt bizarrely. It felt a bit more real than it normally goes. It wasn't like ultra depressing. It was quite funny in places. It felt Christmassy, and it felt. There was drama, it was camp, and I enjoyed it more than I did. Yeah, I'm going to say it. I enjoyed it more than I have done, I would say, the past 3 Christmases.
I prefer although I hate the outcome of it, the Abby and Lauren on the roof. That Christmas episode was really good to me.
Yeah,
Like,
see,
the
because of
writing was so strong.
It was, but then because of the outcome, it makes me resent that. Yeah,
I know, but just wait for this year's outcome.
we'll see.
Sharon the murderer. But yeah, it was all right. It was what it was, I guess, is my theory.
Like I said at the top of the show, where it was stripped back, I think it was its strength. I think if it had been a full let John Sen, sorry, Mr. Sen, let John Sen have full if there was no restrictions, no COVID, it was going to be a proper Christmas episode that could be filmed however he wanted without any kind of barriers. I think it would have been the most over the top circus episode that you could have
Who
ever
do you think's
imagined.
pulling in John Sen?
Coronavirus.
But just COVID. I think he's not able to
okay.
kind of do. I think he's focusing more on the directing rather than producing side a little bit.
It was what it was. It wasn't my favourite, but it wasn't awful. I'm just not keen on the Sharon murderer situation.
Well, technically, she hasn't murdered anyone yet.
I know, but the fact that she's planning it out and slowly poisoning someone, it's so damaging to her. She couldn't even go ahead with humiliating Grant in the pub once because it was just too far. And Phil couldn't go ahead with killing Archie for his mum when she asked him. And now we've got this, and it's oh.
Well, Phil did stop
go
himself
through,
because
Phil couldn't go through with killing Ian.
He would have if Peter didn't disturb him, though, is what he said.
Would he, though? Would he? Why does Ben walking in, of all people, stop Phil from killing Ian?
Because it's
I think
Ian's
it's a
brother.
bit late. Yeah, but it's a bit late in life to try and be a good example to Ben, isn't it?
It's because Phil didn't he say he didn't want Ben to be compromised in the mess or something stupid? Or
Yeah, but
something
Ben normally
ridiculous.
likes to compromise himself in the mess.
Yeah, I know.
Ben
Yeah.
kind of stopped
Doesn't
himself.
need Phil's help.
Yeah.
They can't help. The whole Mitchells are just a bit of a mess right now.
But this is the point, isn't it? It's they just everything. All the characters are a bit of a mess at the moment. What can you do?
Put them in prison.
Okay.
All of them.
Lock everyone up on Walford.
And on that note, that was the week. I thought there'd be a cheer, there wasn't. So I guess after that, I guess after that conversation, there probably wouldn't be.
Yeah, we're finished.
Yeah, all right. We're going to read out a few comments that you guys have sent to us on our social media on I Ain't Want to Gossip.
You know me, I ain't want to gossip.
So as usual, we ask you to get in touch with us on our Twitter, our Instagram and our Facebook group. Don't forget you can find us just by searching Walford Weekly Podcast on any of those apps. And we're starting off with Jen on our Facebook group who says, why Tina? Why, if you know he's violent, potentially murdered his wife, why would you go in there alone and pick a fight with him?
Because Tina's an idiot, that's why.
Yeah, she's a hothead. She doesn't think, does she? Like how she followed Ian into his house and slapped him.
And got slapped back, which we actually saw.
Oh, yes, I forgot to mention
This
that.
week as well.
Yeah, we saw the slap
that
back.
was a more character assassination
Did
for
you
Ian.
see Ian laughing as well after he did it?
Mm.
That was what? Ian I know would have been like, oh my god, what did I just do? But he was laughing like a baboon. He was like, I just slapped a woman. It's like,
Yeah, it was a bit. It just made him look like even more terrible than he needed to be. I
Well,
think.
it's just to give Tina a black eye, so she looked proper like a suspect.
Yeah, for the
wasn't it?
slow mo montage.
Tam Trainer on Facebook says, I wonder what Gray will do with Tina, and Lucas's return was amazing, turning up at the church where he first appeared.
I bet she's enjoyed this episode.
At Sophie Alford on Twitter said, although it was a great episode, I felt like it would have been better if everything wasn't so obvious. It would have been so much more surprising if they hadn't have dropped so many hints of Sharon being behind it and hadn't announced Lucas's return months in advance. So yeah,
that would have been quite a good kind of gasp moment if we didn't know that Lucas was coming back.
I don't know why they announced it really.
for the publicity photo, because it is a very good publicity photo of Denise
very good.
giving the
It
gift
is very
to
good.
Raymond. It's a lovely photo. But no, I
I
agree.
would have preferred a surprise than a photo.
I would have preferred a surprise.
Yeah.
Because the whole Jean story being a surprise was a lovely moment. Obviously not the subject matter, but the fact that it was unannounced. I wish they'd do that more. And that's something normally Kate Oates does do. She doesn't normally kind of throw stories at
I
the
think
press.
that shows
Especially-
that they don't actually have that much trust in the show. Like, that they have to keep doing this. That's what it
No,
feels
I think it was
like
just
to me.
it seemed random to me that, like, if he is only back for about 5 episodes, it would have made it even more sensible to sort of kind of make it a big surprise. It doesn't seem like the sort of character return. Say if he's not coming back full time, and I can understand them saying, "Oh, Chelsea's coming back," and then that would have been enough to sort of almost whet our appetites for a Denise
I
story that was
agree.
coming up, and then Lucas could have been like a shocking addition. But hey ho, that's what we got.
Although we don't know if there's like a mole on the team though, do we? Because like, wasn't that the week where they announced Kush was leaving, Tina was leaving,
It just seemed like a long
Lucas
time
came
ago.
back, and like they said that shouldn't have been announced yet about Kush because he didn't leave till next year. So like people think there's a mole on there like leaking stuff.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
God,
so maybe that's why, because like they said, oh, there's a big Christmas return, and then they announced Lucas, and everyone's like, well, surely that's not the big Christmas return because they've announced it. So maybe there's a mole on the team.
That's a shame. That means that's yet another problem for the production team for them to sort out. One final comment then on Twitter from @Letitia.
Letitia Dean.
No.
Tisha Dean. Oh God, we're so sorry, Tish.
She says my moments were the best. No, she said
She's
from
right.
from @Letitia V says the entire plot about who attacked Ian was exceptional. The Christmas episode was awesome. It's a good thing Phil doesn't kill Ian. Sharon could have get revenge on that scum and murderer.
I disagree. Letitia.
Shock.
It just doesn't.
Ian is not a murderer. Ian didn't murder Denny. He
But
did
this is
his
the
best. He swam through the Thames to save him.
This is the thing. Ian isn't a murderer. You have to remember that he didn't go out of his way to kill someone.
No.
It was at best manslaughter.
But at the same time, anything Ian does in life, absolutely anything, is for Ian. Like, I can imagine, like, the thought of, you know, when the boat started sinking, you know, and he realised what danger Denny was in, his first and only thought would have been, oh my God, Sharon's going to kill me. You know, so,
And
like,
he was
that's why-
correct.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, he is. I mean, I say, I don't think Ian has acted out of character barely at all throughout this entire storyline, maybe apart from whacking Tina around the head. You know, he's just been typical Ian, just out for himself at all times.
He's been slightly exaggerated, Ian,
This
I
little
guess.
worm, though, isn't he? Like, he never stops just thinking about how to better Beale. And the fact that his kids now hate him doesn't surprise me either. 'cause
I didn't
never
like
liked
how
him.
he swung the bat at Kathy either. That upset me.
Oh yeah,
Our
when he
Kath
destroyed the Vic,
Yeah,
he was
and he
telling everyone to get out.
No, he wouldn't- I
pointed
don't
the
think
bat
he-
at her.
I think that was just to prove a point. I don't think he would have hit Kathy with the bat.
I know, but it's disrespectful to our Kath.
Yeah, but he has said to Kathy.
She's had work on her face. She can't afford
Yeah,
a bat.
don't touch the face. But he, actually, no, that's natural youth. She's found the fountain of youth. Remember, she sucks
That's
the
true.
youth out of babies.
21-year-old Kath.
Ian did say that he blames Kathy for some of this because she gave Ben an alibi, knowing full well that Ben had been at the Vic. So, you know, you can kind of understand that he's going to be a bit angry at his mum. He's angry at everyone. I think he feels like everyone's just let him down. And the one person who has kind of let him down, Sharon, is the only one he trusts. It's gone a bit mad, hasn't it?
And was Peter sending the bullets as well as the spray paint and
I think so,
the
yeah.
slide?
Oh, I thought that was Ben who said the bullet.
Because he got arrested. No, he got arrested because of the fingerprints on the bullet or something, didn't he?
How would
Peter.
Peter get a bullet, though?
Yeah. And also, they didn't really dive into like why Peter just went into the Bill house and disappeared, didn't he? We didn't see Kathy tell him off or anything.
No, Kathy told him off last week because Peter hadn't told
She needs
Kathy.
to tell him off again then.
Peter hadn't told Kathy
Every
about
day.
Bobby's illness, so she had to go at him about that. So he kept that quiet. I mean,
Little bastard, isn't he, Peter?
oh,
Eh?
hello.
Nasty little piece of work, actually, I think.
Goodness. Right, Rob, have anything to say?
Yeah, if you're listening on YouTube. So I think we've just about, we're out of comments, we're out of storylines, and we're out of things to rant about.
We're out of time.
We're out of time as well. So thank you very much for joining us, Ben.
That's all right.
It's been a lovely experience. It's been lovely to meet you properly, and I'm glad I won your game.
Yes. That's all that matters.
Goodness
Yeah, that's
sake.
the only thing that matters. Don't
Be
forget,
careful with the
Alex.
Christmas pudding you're eating tonight, Rob. Just
Yeah,
saying,
yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
yeah. What, the vegan Christmas pudding? Don't worry.
Yeah. You might find something in the post tomorrow.
Oh. Right, so yes, you can contact us on Twitter or Instagram at Walford Weekly. Find us on Facebook at Walford Weekly Podcast. If you're listening on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell to get notifications about our spoiler videos presented by the lovely Ben. But you can also listen to us on Apple, Podbean, Spotify, or frankly, any of your favourite podcast sites. I have an email address at robwalfordweekly@gmail.com, or you can contact alexwalfordweekly@gmail.com. We are getting emails from you lovely people, and please keep them coming. Don't forget to be safe, be kind, take care of each other, and I don't think we'll be speaking to you again until next year.
Yes.
Well, review of the year at some point, isn't there?
Review of the year is the middle of January.
Yeah.
So the review
might
of
come back to that
2020. Oh, there we go. It's been said
Who
on
knows?
It's been said on the show.
Depends if I'm working or not.
Yeah, sure.
Or that I ever work.
Well, Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Yes, Merry Tishmas.
Happy Hogmanay from us up in Scotland.
Please end this.
We'll-
Go.
Okay, we'll speak to you again all next week when we have
Bye.
the big story of New Year.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.